Imagine this. You spend 15 years mastering a craft. Late nights, failure after failure, obsessive refinement, sacrifice. You tell yourself it's worth it because mastery makes you rare. Then one morning, you open your laptop, you type a prompt, and a machine produces something in 3 seconds that took you a decade to learn. Not close. Better, cleaner, faster, scalable. That's the moment the ground shifts. You don't fear robots, you fear irrelevance. But not just economic irrelevance, existential irrelevance. For centuries, humanity built its identity on one assumption. We are the only thinking beings. We reason, we imagine, we create. That made us superior. Now we've built something that mirrors those abilities back to us. And it's disturbingly confident. AI is not the threat. AI is the mirror. And mirrors are uncomfortable when they reflect something we weren't prepared to see. The third narcissistic injury. Humanity has already been humbled twice. First, Copernicus showed us we are not the center of the universe. Then Darwin showed us we are not separate from animals. Both shattered illusions. AI is the third narcissistic injury. It strikes the fortress we guarded most carefully, intellect. Since the Enlightenment, we equated intelligence with identity. We told ourselves that poetry, mathematics, engineering, law, these were proof of our uniqueness. But now machines draft contracts, compose music, generate strategy, write code, diagnose illness. And the question becomes unavoidable. If intelligence can be simulated, what exactly were we protecting? You don't fear AI taking over the world. You fear discovering that intelligence was never as mystical as we believed. You fear that genius might be structured pattern recognition at scale. And if that's true, then what is left that cannot be automated? The collapse of utility. Modern identity is built on utility. What do you produce? What value do you generate? What output can you measure? We don't ask, who are you? We ask, what do you do? So when AI threatens productivity, it threatens identity. If a machine can do your job in seconds, what happens to your internal hierarchy? If art can be generated instantly, what happens to the artist? If strategic thinking can be outsourced, what happens to the thinker? This is not about job displacement. This is about self-concept collapse. Because when output is automated, self-worth becomes unstable. And instability triggers fear. The death of friction. Every human legend was forged in friction. Years of struggle, messy drafts, public failure. Friction creates meaning. There's a psychological concept called the IKEA effect. We value what we build through effort. The effort embeds identity into the result. AI removes friction. It offers the outcome without the ordeal, the product without the process, the answer without the uncertainty. But here's what we instinctively sense. Meaning lives in resistance. Neurobiologically, dopamine attaches to pursuit, not possession. If the masterpiece appears instantly, the nervous system doesn't register triumph. It registers convenience. And convenience cannot sustain identity. We fear AI because it threatens to commoditize greatness. If brilliance becomes accessible to everyone, then brilliance stops differentiating anyone. The predictability trap. AI runs on probability. It predicts the most statistically likely next word, decision, or solution. It is consensus at scale. And here's the subtle danger. The more we rely on AI, the more we start optimizing for probability. We choose the safest strategy, the most likely outcome, the highest data-backed path. But every breakthrough in history came from statistical absurdity, from ideas that looked impossible, from people who ignored probability. When you outsource thinking to prediction engines, you begin to suppress the irrational, and the irrational is where innovation lives. The real threat is not AI surpassing human creativity. The real threat is humans shrinking into algorithmic predictability. Efficient, logical, average. Regression to the mean is comfortable, but comfort rarely produces greatness. The psychological mirror. Here's the uncomfortable truth. AI exposes how mechanical we already became. We built cultures obsessed with optimization, productivity apps, performance metrics, efficiency frameworks. We reduced ourselves to output machines long before AI arrived. We measured our worth in productivity. So when a machine outproduces us, the illusion collapses. If you define yourself as the smartest person in the room, and the room now contains AI, who are you? If your value is tied to information access and AI has infinite access, who are you? The mirror doesn't destroy identity. It reveals how fragile it was. The nervous system reaction. This isn't abstract fear, it's physiological. When identity feels threatened, the nervous system reacts as if survival is at risk. Increased heart rate, tight chest, anxiety masked as debate. AI conversations aren't just intellectual disagreements, they are ego defense mechanisms. Your mind argues about safety, your body reacts to potential erasure, because if you built your identity on being indispensable, and indispensability dissolves, the body interprets that as danger. This is why AI anxiety feels disproportionate. It's not about technology, it's about self-preservation. The shift from utility to being. So what remains when intelligence is democratized? Presence, embodied experience, moral courage, original interpretation shaped by lived reality. AI can simulate empathy. It cannot feel loss. It cannot risk humiliation. It cannot endure failure. Wisdom is data filtered through suffering. AI has information. It does not have scars. In a world saturated with polished machine output, raw humanity becomes scarce. Messy expression becomes premium. Imperfection becomes authenticity. And authenticity becomes power. The real decision AI is not an extinction event. It is an identity filter. It forces a choice. You can compete with machines on efficiency, or you can cultivate depth they cannot replicate. You can optimize for average probability, or you can embrace the uncomfortable risk of originality. The real danger isn't that AI will think for you. It's that you'll let it. It's easier to accept consensus than to confront uncertainty. It's easier to generate than to create. It's easier to refine prompts than to refine character. But the future will not reward imitation of machines. It will reward integration. Use AI for optimization. Reserve humanity for meaning. Let machines process. You remain unpredictable. The final truth. The gap between AI and humans is not processing speed. It's being. One calculates, the other experiences, one predicts, the other dares, one optimizes. The other transforms chaos into narrative. Stop trying to outperform machines at their strength. Strengthen what they cannot touch, because in a world of infinite replicas, scarcity shifts. Intelligence becomes abundant. Originality becomes rare. And the real fear of AI is not that it replaces you, it's that it exposes how replaceable you've allowed yourself to become. The mirror is not the enemy, it's the wake-up call. In the next video, we break down how to build an unbreakable mind in the age of AI. So you don't just adapt to the future, you shape it. Because machines may optimize the world, but only humans decide what the world means.